Hey everybody, this is going to be my short guide on Musa skill points, add-ons, combos, and some other basic fundamentals of the class. To start off here, just to be clear, I'm not stating that anything that I'm showing you is the best thing that you could be doing. It's merely just what I choose to do. The things I'm doing I think are very effective. I've been doing it for a long time. I know other Musas on the NA server especially that do some of the same things, have some similar setups, food rotations, combos, etc. There are plenty of viable combos and add-ons, crystal setups, food rotations. So just keep in mind, this is my way of doing things, and at the end of the day, you can do whatever you like. So to start off here, let's get into the skilled add-ons. So in pre-awake here, I have Dragon Bite, a very core skill in the Musa's arsenal here. So we have PvP attack plus 5 and critical attack rate plus 20%. Blooming, I take PvE damage 30 and PvP attack plus 15. My third skill is Rising Storm, which I take in all defense 15 and attack speed plus 10%. With the Awakening add-ons here, we have Below the Belt. I have PvP attack, movement speed minus 10%. Another option I see here a lot is the burn damage debuff, which is also very good. But again, just choose what you want. I prefer the movement speed debuff. On Crosscut here, I take my PvE damage plus 20 against monsters and attack speed plus 10. Twister, we have PvP attack plus 5, critical hit rate plus 10%. I'm gonna keep saying it throughout the video, but choose what skills you use most in your combos, whether it be PvP, PvE, and set them up accordingly to what you do, what you're chaining. Whenever you're changing these, it does cost 1 memory fragment. So, there are more specific, I guess, like orientations of the skills that you can have for PvP and PvE, but I'd like to mix them together so that I can, do all content and I don't have to constantly go back to min-max to switch them up if I want to. Now let's get into my skills here. I do have 1571 skill points, but I pretty much have everything you're going to want as a Musa. Everything else is kind of either extremely situational or just flat out useless. So let's start in pre-awake here. I guess I'll speak on what you should take if you're lower skill points, like what your priorities should be. So Slice is going to be leveled up for you, I believe. The forward roll here, you should always keep this locked as a Musa. It'll just get you killed, honestly. It doesn't do anything for you and it's unsafe. The Q here, Retaliation Stance, very important to have. Level 1 in Backstab Slash, good debuff sometimes. Divider I keep level 1, I think it's pretty useless. We have other good heals. Blind Thrust, very good to have. It's a crit buff that we have. Pretty reliable stiffness that's chained in many combos and allows us to take an Nemesis Slash, which is a heal that we can use in both pre-awake and awakening. Over here to the right we have Chase. You do want to take the max level chase that you can at the time, whatever that may be. Very important to have. Blind Thrust, don't worry about too much early on. Don't worry about absoluting it. Just if you feel like you need heals when you're training, you don't want to use PvP potions, maybe get Blind Thrust 3 and then get your ultimate Nemesis Slash. Next down the line here we have Whirlwind Cut. I personally don't use it at all. I don't think it's very good. It does recover WP if you're in pre-awake. Not worth leveling up though. Lock the kicks, never take the kicks. Pretty useless, and the damage on them is pretty low as well. Carver I don't use at all. I keep locked. Gale I think is the last thing that you should get. In order of like what you should prioritize for your combos, it's the last thing that I've picked up personally. There's a more consistent combo which costs a lot less skill points than taking Absolute Gale. Very good to have though later on if you have the skill points. Dragon Bite, don't worry about leveling this up if you're not doing too much PvP. I took it pretty early on because I do like doing PvP. I do a lot of it, and I do it for fun when I'm not grinding. I PvP my guild mates and friends and stuff, so great to have. You're going to need it later on, but don't prioritize it if you're training and leveling up. Musa Spirit here, always take the max level of Musa Spirit that you can, and Absolute whenever possible. Dragon Claw and Lunar Slash, they're actually not bad skills, but I don't have the points for them. They have some uses. Rising Storm here, very important skill. Mainly leveling to 56, this is all you're going to use. You're just going to be shift queuing Rising Storm every single pack of monsters. Blooming, kind of like Dragon Bite, don't worry about it unless you're doing PvP. The Absolute version is really good, it's really hard, it's a decent CC. Arrow skills here, also don't have to worry about those if you're strictly doing PvE, a lot of grinding. But Absolute Stub Arrow and the Absolute Charge Stub Arrow, very great skills to have. And then always take all your passives. So Precise Martial Arts for the 15% stiffness and knockback resistance, or resistance against others, I mean. Sword training here, melee AP, we take all of those. The maneuver training, take the max level you can on those. The next level you get is level 70, so in the year 2030 we'll have that. Infinite Mastery, take all that, it's just free health, accuracy, skilled hunter. And then, just down here's your Z buffs, 30 AP, 25% attack speed. There are bomb skills. There's really no reason to take the other two. You should always go Ultimate Musa Spirit and Quick Shot. Ultimate Musa Spirit is going to give you your crit buff that you would normally get from using Blind Thrust, and it's also going to give you HP, 450. Really good. Use it when grinding all the time. Use it in PvP, 1v1s. Always use that skill when it's up. And then Quick Shot, very good CC to pull out of anywhere. Also allows you to switch between stances. Does good damage. It's a reliable stiffness. Awakening, I believe you get your C-swap automatically. So what you should prioritize at 56 would be, cross-cut below the belt, fire crevice. I believe you get Twister at 57. Pick that up as soon as possible. Great skill to use and spam in PvE. Does consume stamina though, so be careful when using that a lot. As far as the priorities for leveling these things up, take your Musa Soul whenever you can. That's your E buff. Gives you super armor and crosscut, 50% resistance, 20 AP. Great to have. Fire crevice when it max as soon as possible. Crosscut max as soon as possible. Below the belt max as soon as possible. With those skills, Twister and then backflow eventually when you get that, along with Dash Slash. You really don't use Crust Crusher for too much PvE. It's kind of slow. When you're grinding those Valencia spots, you're going to one-hit packs with the rest of your skills. Projection, you don't need to worry about that again unless you're in a lot of PvP. Pretty useless in PvE. So is Musa Spirit. One Step Back's a decent skill. Take it if you have extra points. Flow Nemesis Slash if you want to be able to use your pre-awake heal in Awakening. Not a priority, but definitely good to have down the line. Foul Play, of course, one of our most damaging abilities. And then Extra Credit is the most recent skill I just got. No reason to rush for that at all. And Fiery Angel, good to initiate, allows you to move around a bit. PvE, it is unsafe in PvP, but it's good to take up. I don't think it costs too many points. And then the Q block allows us to block when walking backwards in PvP. Very good to have. And Spinner, pretty useless. Does give an attack speed buff if you use I believe it's the second phase of the skill. But other than that, it has no protection and just really slow cast time for the whole skill. Okay, we're in the battle arena now. The first thing I want to say regarding PvP with Musa is not to waste stamina. I see a lot of players that either they don't know what they're doing or they're just doing too much with the class when it really isn't necessary. Either dashing too much or just like spamming skills all over the place. Just take your time and play to your advantage. The way I like to play is by reacting to the person that I'm fighting instead of really initiating the fight. Musa's really good at that. So playing off your opponent's weaknesses and just looking for opportunities to strike. We're really fast, so take advantage of your speed. One of the first things I'm going to talk about is fishing for CC. So what I mean about this, we do have long-range CC capabilities, which I don't think they're really underestimated. You know, people respect them most of the time, but they are there. So you see we have these targets here. We happen to have 3 long-range stiffnesses, which are pretty good. So these are going to be your stub arrow, your absolute stub arrow, you know, your stub arrow triple shot, your charge stub arrow, and your bomb skill at 58 quick shot. So what these look like here, you have the charge shot here, which you really shouldn't be using. The reason I take this is because it has an iframe incorporated with another skill you get that attaches to it, and it does that. And when you roll, you're actually in an iframe, so you're invincible. So whenever you're holding this, and then you move to the side, you're in an iframe. Very good to use. You can use it in a split second, dodge something, and then turn something in your favor. We have the stub arrow with the triple shot there. That's also a stiffness. And then we have the bomb, the shift C. All 3 of those are long range things you can use, and you can follow up combos with all of those. Another thing I'm briefly going to talk about, but I'm going to include in the description, it's talking about the CC limit and how CC works in this game. So the CC limit is 2, and how CC and abilities work in the game is that stiffness, anything that is a stiffness, such as blind thrust here, you see at the bottom in yellow letters says stiffness on good hits, counts as 0.7, and everything else, such as a float, like you'll see on Rising Storm, counts as 1. So however, you can still go over the CC limit with your last CC, but once they reach 2.0, they're immune. So if we do something like a Dragon Bite, which is a stun, that puts us at 1, and then we follow up with a blind thrust, puts us at 1.7, we can still land another CC. So we can do a Rising Storm and float the opponent. And then it puts us at 2.7, but it still applies. But then everything we do after that isn't going to apply any more time for them being CC'd. It's only going to do damage for us. So with that being said, the important thing to take away from that is that you want the last CC in your limit chain to ground your opponent. So when your opponent's grounded, you're going to deal the most damage without them being able to resist or escape when they're on the ground. First go-to combo I like to use, one that all of you should learn, very good combo to know, is the 2 Dragon Bite combos that most people use here. So how I do these are I start with Dragon Bite, which is a stun, and I'll talk about the CC limit while I do this. So you're going for Dragon Bite, stun, followed by that you're going to go in for a blind thrust, which is a stiffness. Then after the blind thrust, we're going to do a Rising Storm, which is a float, followed by projection here, and then dash slash, and below the belt. Now to use dash slash here, you will have to hotkey this skill somewhere. That's the only way you're going to be able to use it like that. Projection, I also have hotkey dimension. I keep that listed, or I guess assigned, on one of my side buttons on my mouse, so it's easy to click. It's right next to my left mouse button. So to go over that again, Dragon Bite, blind thrust, Rising Storm, projection, dash slash, below the belt. Honestly, that's going to kill anyone you fight, unless you don't have enough accuracy, enough AP, whatever the case may be. If you're fighting someone equal gear to you, it's going to kill them. So like in real time, you see that hit, you go in with a full combo like that. Second combo that has to do with Dragon Bite, basically the same thing, but it's with Gale. So we're going with the Dragon Bite, followed by the blind thrust, and then from the blind thrust we're hitting Gale, and then we're going to a C swap, and we're hitting dash slash, and then below the belt. This combo you probably won't do it until later on, because you shouldn't really prioritize getting Gale before other stuff like Rising Storm and projection. So to go over this combo again, Dragon Bite 1.0, Blind Thrust 1.7, Gale 2.7, and then we're using, well, not projection, we're using the C-swap into dash / below the belt. So real time here. That's what that combo is going to look like. Both of those are probably the most common combos that I use. You probably see a lot of other Musas do those as well. Very reliable and easy to use. It's effective, so use whatever's going to get the job done. Some other quick things I'll let you know of. As far as our CC potential in Awakening, it is there, but most of it is unprotected. Try not to use Fire Angel too much. You will get punished using this skill. It's extremely unsafe, even though it is a float. There's a couple things you can do with the skill actually. You can cancel it immediately by pressing left click. And you can also change the direction that you strike. So let's say I go with these soldiers' faces here. I'm going to completely miss him going forward, right? But if you turn the camera and look left, you'll actually float him up. Your strike changes with the direction of your camera. So if you do that, we float him. Another good thing to know, you can cancel most of your skills with a Q, a counter assassination, which will actually apply CC. So something you can do is when you're in Awakening, you're maybe like looking to get a CC maybe, you're dashed around your opponent, do a quick cross cut and then a Q, and you'll stun your opponent like that. So from there's a few things you can do to ground your opponent. It's kind of awkward when you get a CC like that, at least I think. So some of the things you can do are like this projection to ground them and then follow up with the combo. Or you can do cross-cut Q, cross-crusher to ground them, and then follow up with the foul play. A lot of different things you can do from those positions there. What else can I think of here? A Fiery Crevice. This skill here, F, casts faster when you take it as something like below the belt. So do below the belt into that, it's almost immediate. Also is a down attack, I believe, yeah. So very strong ability. Dash canceling, thought I'd mention this. So this is the dash speed if you're just holding right click. However, you can go faster than this, but the trade-off is that it's going to consume your resource WP and your stamina a lot quicker. So to do this, we're going to go into settings. So escape, settings, interface here, action hotkeys. All the way at the bottom, you'll see with hotkey evasion, evasion WW. You're going to change this to whatever you want the button to be that you hold down to dash cancel. I have mine on one of my side keys on my mouse, and that's what I use. So now if you hold left click and that button, whatever it is, not right click, the button you assign that to, you'll dash that quickly. What is this useful for? Escaping, doing a really quick engage to catch someone off guard, and you can also throw blooming out of it. Another thing to mention is blooming, since I just got reminded that. You can throw blooming out of dashes like this. It'll cancel half the animation, come out very quickly. And you can also throw it out of a blind thrust forward, so you can get the crit buff from getting the blind thrust and then throw it out immediately. So it's going to look like that. What else should we talk about here? I guess lingering forward guard and SA. We have our C swaps. So if you're in Awakening here, whenever you switch to pre-awake, you have a lingering forward guard until you're right there, until the blade is in the middle of your hands. And then when you C-swap to Awakening, when the blade hits your knee. So what it looks like when you're backing up, right there, is when it stops the linger in your forward guard. Another note is that you can immediately cancel your pre-awake C-swap with a dash, either forward or backward. So you see I'm dashing with Awake. I can hit it with C, keep dashing, and I have my blade out. You can't do that with pre-awake to Awake though. So you see I'm dashing back with pre, and then I see swap, I am going to go forward. So it's not as fast, but you can do it the other way around. So wait to pre, you can pull it out immediately. I don't know how useful that is, but maybe it's useful to some people, I don't know. Lingering essays, so we have crosscut, which is a super armor, and you linger in it if you wait it out. Like that, back to the knee, and then our backflow. So when you recover out of those, yeah, you can stay in super armor. So what that means, you can literally just be standing still, and you can't be CC'd unless someone grabs you. So someone will have to grab you to get you out of that. So you can do a couple things. You can bait people's initiations, bait some skills, and then like do something out of it. So you can like sit in this and like immediately dash back, and maybe like dragon bite or something. You get the point. Very good things to know. Keep in mind when you're fighting. And yeah, I guess I'll just show a couple of gauges you can do with your bow skills. So if you happen to hit a stiff from long range, let's say we hit like the bomb, you can follow up with like a blooming into like, you know, projection dash slash below the belt or something like that. Okay, real quickly here, I wanted to go over the food I use and the crystals, as well as the heals that we have as a Musa. So as a Musa, we have 5 heals. Starting in pre-awake, we have our E divider. This is a heal. I don't choose to level it up. I think we have better ones, so I save my skill points. Good to take later on though, I guess. But that's our first heal. Our second heal is our Nemesis Slash, which can be used out of pre-awake or awakening. I'll show you what it is in awakening. But to use it, you will need the flow Nemesis Slash here. So F space, that's a big heal. Another one we have is a bomb skill, Ultimate Musa Spirit, which you can get at 57, I believe. And that's just Shift X. That's a 450 health heal. In Awakening, we have 2 more. We have our F skill, Fiery Crevice. This heals us whenever it's off cooldown. So first time you use it, and then it won't heal you again until it's off cooldown at 6 seconds here. That is a heal. Very small, but it does heal. Crust Crusher, the foul play heals. HP recovery plus 50 per every good hit. So those are the 5 heals we have. I don't grind anywhere with HP pots. It's not really necessary. At least I think. Go over the food I use. I'm just using whatever I need to max out my crit, movement, and fishing. So as you can see here, from my crystals alone, I'm getting 4 movement speed, 3 crit, and 5 attack speed. So my crystal setup, I can't recommend it to you guys. It's pretty bad right now. But it also doesn't really matter because I don't have all my boss pieces, and I'm not too serious about PvP right now. I'm just trying to, you know, get my account up, do what I gotta do, and it works. So we have 1 precision here, 1 BMC precision for the 10% ignore all resistance. If you are PvPing, 2 precisions in your main hand is probably the best thing you can do in most cases. For PvE, there are some exceptions and possibly some better crystals you could use, but the ignore all resistance is really important and really does help out a lot in PvP. I also have a Karma in there for 1 crit that I need. In the gloves, we take a Valor and an Assault for 2 crit and 2 attack speed. In the Griddle armor here, most people will probably run Coppolina's crystals for the health. I'm running the Crystals of Abundance for the resource for the WP. I like that more for PvP, just allows me to, you know, spam skills more and do things like that a little more recklessly. I prefer that. We'll be changing those out though whenever I can, whenever I get my boss pieces and I do some actual crystal setups. And then in my helmet, I'm using XP crystals. The shoes here, just 2 movement speed crystals, pretty basic. So with the food buff rotation here, I have a Knight's Combat going, but when I hit my Magoria, I'm capped out now on attack speed, movement speed, and critical hit. You always want to be capped out on these on Musa. You know, your skills scale with your crit and your attack speed, and your dash scales with your movement speed. So very important to have, it's a must-have. First meal I take is a Magoria seafood meal. Then I usually hit my Knight's Combat and the special Camisylvia meal next. Either one. You probably need the Magoria first to cap on a crit if you're using a setup similar to mine. And then you can do this next for the stamina and the back attack damage. And then follow up with Knights as your third. Keep in mind that I'm using the special Camisylvia because it's 30 minutes longer duration, which does allow me to use a fourth meal. And with the fourth meal, I choose either Jumbo King of Jungle Hamburg for PvP or a Smooth Milk Tea if I'm doing PvE. Like I said before, these are all subject to change, depends on what you're doing. You know, your crystals, if you're doing PvE or PvP, all these things can change, guys, so don't be afraid to swap it up or do what you need to do to max out on your 555 here. End of the day, it really doesn't matter, very minuscule differences in what you're running. I'd also like to mention that I take 2 crit crystals in the Kudum. I've talked to some people, and due to like some tests and what people are feeling is working out damage wise, they're saying that these crit crystals are working out pretty well with Musa. So I've been trying them out and it works amazing for me as well. Can't really say anything bad about them. And due to the recent crit buff we got in PvE for Fire Crevice, it helps even more. This has a 50% crit hit right now for PvE only. Is there anything else to talk about here? I don't believe so. So, last thing to mention really, to wrap this up, is when you're fighting someone, at least in a 1v1 scenario, always be in your block. So you're holding your Q and you're facing your opponent. This is a forward guard, so you have to be facing forward for it to be in effect. So, dash around your opponent, always looking at your opponent though. And then out of your block, you can do Dragon Bites to get CC. You can, bow shot out of it. You have a lot of options, but always be moving around in your block. Very important to do, and conserve your stamina when you're doing this. If you're canceling a lot really quick, dashing around, you will consume a lot of stamina. So, don't feel like you need to be moving too much. You're safe as long as you're in this, and you're keeping your opponent in front of you. Just stay away from those grabs. I did kind of make this on the fly, and my thought process was kind of all over the place, but I was trying to think of the most important things that I could to let others know what's important about the class and what they could be doing. So, I hope it was useful. That was the point. If it assisted at least even one person, it served a purpose in my mind. So if there's still some things you may be unclear about, or you have questions about combos or your gear progression or anything like that, I say it all the time, but feel free to reach out. Just, send a comment, a PM, DM me in Discord. It doesn't mean anything to me to take some time out of my day to help you guys out. I like doing it. So, just do that if you need to. I'd also like to take some of this time to, thank you all for the continued support. Growing really, really fast. I'm like baffled, honestly, by, all the comments I get and, the likes, like the likes, the comments, the views, everything. It's just tremendous. So thank you a lot for that. And, as far as videos to come in the future, just let me know what you guys want to see. If it's something I can do, I'd be glad to do it. I do plan on doing some more grind spot videos. A couple people asked for, the Crescent Shrine rotations I do. So I'll probably make those. Those won't be too bad to make. And, I can make videos for anything. So if you have anything specific you want to see, just leave a comment in the description. I'll check it out. And, I try to read all your guys' comments. If you see there's a little heart in my YouTube picture next to it, I've read your comment, and I'll try to respond to all the questions that are there in due time. So thank you for that, and I'll see you guys in the future.